Are you just so tired of the bumper-to-bumper grind on I-95 in Miami? Sick of watching your paycheck feel like an ice cube melting on a hot sidewalk and vanishing into a rent payment for a place half the size you actually need? Trust me, you're not alone. So many people are looking for an escape from the frantic, high cost of reality of South Florida. Now they're dreaming of a life where their budget goes further, where weekends are for decompressing in nature instead of fighting for a parking spot, and where you can finally hear yourself think. Now I know that might sound like a foreign language to some of you that are from South Florida. Now if that sounds exactly like you, I want you to know there is a path to that life, and I help people find it every single day. In fact, if you're serious about exploring your options, I put a link down in the description below where you can book a one-on-one relocation call with yours truly. But stick with me, because maybe you started looking north up the coast and a name keeps popping up: Palm Bay. Sounds nice, right? Palm trees, a bay, what's not to love? But then the questions creep in. What's it really like? Is it just a sleepy town with nothing to do? What am I giving up for my South Florida life? And what am I actually gaining from this? That fear of the unknown can be completely paralyzing. Like standing at the edge of the pool, not knowing if the water is freezing cold or perfectly warm. I get calls and emails every single day from people wrestling with this same exact decision. They see the attractive home prices but have no clue what to expect from the lifestyle. That is the exact reason why I'm making this video for you. I'm gonna be breaking down the 7 biggest differences you absolutely must know before you even think about moving from the hustle of South Florida to the sprawling suburbs of Palm Bay. We're gonna cover everything from what your bank account will look like to how you'll be spending your weekends and a whole bunch more. By the end of this, you'll have a crystal clear picture of whether this move is the right move for you. So let's get to it. First up, and for many, the most important difference: the staggering gap in the cost of living. Living in South Florida is famously expensive. Moving to Palm Bay can feel like giving yourself a massive immediate pay raise without ever talking to your boss. To give you an idea, some cost of living indexes show that Miami can be over 30% more expensive than Palm Bay. Think of it like this: for every dollar you spend in Palm Bay, you need to pull out an extra 30 cents from your wallet, just about the same thing in Miami. Palm Bay's overall cost of living generally hovers just below the US national average, and is also a bit more affordable than the Florida state average. The single biggest factor in this financial equation: housing. This is where the difference becomes truly life-changing. In Palm Bay, housing costs are often cited as being right around or even slightly below the national average. As of late 2024 and heading into 2025, median home prices have been floating in the low 300,000s, though that can always shift with the market. Now compare that to major metro areas in South Florida where prices are in another stratosphere. The cost for a homeowner in Miami is dramatically higher than in Palm Bay. That's the difference between a spacious 3-bedroom house with a yard in Palm Bay and a small condo in Miami. You can even find new construction homes here starting in the low 300,000s. I just helped someone get into one just last week, and oftentimes it comes with no HOAs or CDD fees, which is basically a myth down south. But it's not just the mortgage. This financial relief is like a river of savings that flows into almost every part of your daily life. You'll likely notice savings on things like groceries and healthcare costs. They also tend to be more favorable than the national average as well. Now, it's not all savings by all means. Car insurance in Palm Bay can be a little higher because it's such a car-dependent city, but that increase, it's just a drop in the bucket compared to the savings elsewhere. Even property taxes are generally more favorable. The average effective property tax rate in Brevard County, where Palm Bay is, often falls in the 0.8% to 1% range. While rates in Miami, Dade, and Brevard County can certainly be higher, there is some overlap. Now the lifestyle impact of this is profound. It's the difference between treading water financially and finally being able to swim. It's the freedom to save, invest, or finally take those family vacations, most likely to Disney because it is closer, you know. It swaps the constant financial pressure of South Florida for some real economic breathing room. The second huge difference is the physical landscape itself. South Florida is defined by its density, a vertical world of high-rise condos, packed in townhomes, and neighborhoods where you can practically high-five your neighbor from your own window. If South Florida is a bookshelf packed so tight you can't squeeze another one in, Palm Bay is that same shelf with every other book removed, giving everything room to breathe. The city itself is geographically massive, covering around 88 square miles. Much of the development, especially west of I-95, is single-family homes on larger lots. So that means finding a quarter-acre home site is very common, giving you a sense of space and privacy that's a rare luxury for Fort Lauderdale or West Palm Beach. You'll find communities with brand new 3, 4, and 5 bedroom homes where having your own backyard isn't a dream, it's a standard. But, and this is a big but, this sprawl comes with a trade-off. Your car becomes your legs in Palm Bay. The city has an average walk score in the low teens, and some residential areas even dip into the single digits. This means pretty much every single errand, groceries, dinner, head into the park. This is all going to require a car. While locals know that parks are plentiful, online surveys suggest that only a minority of residents feel they can walk to restaurants or grocery stores. This is a fundamental lifestyle shift from parts of South Florida where you might stroll to a coffee shop or even a corner store. In Palm Bay, the infrastructure is built for the automobile, and my friend, you will be driving everywhere. Now that could be a joke for someone used to a more walkable environment. The trade-off is crystal clear. You're swapping the convenience of urban density for the space, privacy, and quiet of a sprawling suburb. And your daily routine will be dictated by driving, but your evenings will be spent in a home with a yard, without the constant noise of a crowded city. Now when people think of Florida, they think of beaches. South Florida definitely delivers on that, with iconic stretches of sand right at its doorstep. The ocean is an immediate part of the lifestyle. In Palm Bay, the relationship with the beach is very different here. Think of it this way. The beach in South Florida is like a radio station that's always playing in the background. Now in Palm Bay, the beach is more like a special album you choose to put on. And here's the simple truth. Palm Bay is not on the Atlantic Ocean, a massive and beautiful estuary. The lagoon is like a calm, expansive lake, offering great waterfront views and its own set of activities. But it's not the ocean with crashing waves. To get to the actual beach, guess what? You actually have to drive. The closest and most popular spots are in the neighboring towns of Melbourne Beach and Indy Atlantic. This changes the whole dynamic of going to the beach. In South Florida, a beach trip can be a spontaneous decision. In Palm Bay, a beach day is more of a planned event. You're packing the car and planning for a drive that's typically 15 to 30 minutes. Though from the farthest corners of the city, that can stretch a little bit longer, especially at peak times. It's less of an everyday backdrop and more of a weekend destination. However, there is a huge upside. The beaches near Palm Bay, like Melbourne Beach, have a completely different vibe. They are far less crowded, more family friendly, and have a very relaxed local feel. You won't find the intense party scenes of South Florida. Instead, you'll find pristine sand, attentive lifeguards, and great amenities, creating a much more peaceful experience. It's a place for surfing and enjoying nature without the chaos. So you have to ask yourself, do you need the beach to be an immediate part of your daily life? Or are you happy to trade the immediacy for a more tranquil beach experience that's just a short drive away? The fourth major difference, we'll feel it every single day, the sense of community. South Florida is a vibrant, transient, international melting pot. It's exciting, but it's easy to feel like a small fish in a massive ocean. It's a place where millions of people are constantly moving in and out, where it's easy to feel anonymous. Palm Bay offers a dramatic shift. If South Florida is a massive Grand Central Station with everyone rushing past each other, Palm Bay is like a local town square where people actually stop and chat. Residents often describe the community as being more home-focused and less centered on tourism. It's a city where you're more likely to know your neighbors and see familiar faces at the grocery store. While online polls about neighborliness can be mixed, a stronger theme that emerges from residents is a real sense of community and shared local identity. This feeling is backed up by the kinds of events that bring people together. A South Florida event can feel like Project X or like a blockbuster movie premiere. Huge and impressive. But guess what? You're just a face in the crowd. Palm Bay's events are more like a neighborhood potluck. Smaller, more intimate, and focused on residents. You'll find a calendar full of things like makers markets, pickleball mixers, local farmers markets, and holiday events in the park that are deeply rooted in the community. The lifestyle impact is huge. If you're raising a family and looking to put down roots where your kids can grow up with the same friends, Palm Bay's community feel is incredibly appealing. On the other hand, if you thrive on energy and world-class cultural options of a major metro area, the quiet, home-centric nature of Palm Bay might feel limiting. It's a trade-off between the thrill of a big city anatomy, and the comfort of a small town connection. Choose wisely. The professional landscape is another area where South Florida and Palm Bay are just simply two different worlds. South Florida is an economic powerhouse. Think of its job market as a massive department store with finance, international trade, tourism, and corporate headquarters on every single floor. The career opportunities are vast and varied. Palm Bay and the broader Brevard County area used to be seen as having a more limited job market. That perception is officially outdated. The Space Coast job market is more like a high-end specialty boutique focusing on tech and aerospace. It's in the middle of a massive economic transformation, with studies ranking this metro area as one of the nation's fastest growing tech regions, with explosive growth and high-tech employment. Now, this isn't just a stat, it's a reality on the ground. Major employers in engineering, defense, and aerospace have a huge presence here, including giants like L3 Harris Technologies and Northrop Grumman. The area is a hotbed for companies in satellite manufacturing, aviation, and cybersecurity. The result is a boom in high-paying jobs. For skilled jobs in aerospace and engineering, it's not uncommon to see average salaries topping 6 figures, which goes an incredibly long way with a lower cost of living. The manufacturing sector has also shown remarkable resilience and growth over the last couple of decades. So, who is the Palm Bay job market for? It's perfect for professionals in aerospace, defense, engineering, and advanced manufacturing. It's also ideal for the growing number of remote and hybrid workers. You can work for a company based in Miami or anywhere else while enjoying the lower costs and better quality of life in Palm Bay. This trend alone is making Palm Bay more attractive than ever. It's a different kind of professional ambition, one that prioritizes both meaningful work and actually having a life outside of it. When it comes to the great outdoors, both South Florida and Palm Bay offer sunshine, but they deliver it in completely different packages. South Florida's outdoor scene is often highly developed and manicured. Think of it as a perfectly landscaped botanical garden. Beautiful, but every plant is exactly where it's supposed to be. It's nature, but it's a tamed version. Palm Bay, by contrast, offers an abundance of old Florida. This is nature that's more like a national park, raw, authentic, and untamed. The city is home to over 30 parks, but the crown jewel is the Turkey Creek Sanctuary. This preserve is around 130 acres, featuring about 1.5 miles of boardwalk that winds through a lush defense forest of palms and oaks, alongside the dark, tranquil waters of Turkey Creek. It low-key feels like a secret pathway into a lost world, a place where you can kayak or canoe and have a real chance of spotting manatees, otters, and alligators in their natural habitat. It's a vibe, I'm not even gonna lie. And that's just the start. You have the Malabar Scrub Sanctuary for hiking and bird watching, Castaway Point Park on the lagoon for fishing, and an extensive canal system perfect for beginner kayakers. For the more adventurous, there's the Stick Marsh, a massive reservoir of about 6,700 acres, known for world-class bass fishing. This connection to raw nature defines the lifestyle. In South Florida, your weekend might be a bike ride along a busy path. In Palm Bay, it's a quiet morning hike through a dense sanctuary, or an afternoon kayaking down a wild creek. It appeals to someone who finds peace, not in a bustling park, but in the quiet solitude of Florida's natural, undeveloped beauty. It's a place where your adventures are dictated by the landscape itself, not by man-made attractions. Finally, let's talk about the daily reality that defines South Florida life more than anything: traffic. The relentless gridlock on I-95 is like a clogged artery, putting constant pressure and stress on your daily life. It dictates your schedule and adds a layer of frustration to everything you do. That's why moving to Palm Bay is like stepping into another dimension. The #1 quality of life improvement people mention after moving from South Florida is the dramatic reduction in traffic. Your daily commute becomes a predictable and often relaxed drive, sometimes. Now, this doesn't mean Palm Bay is traffic-free utopia. Main arteries like Malabar Road and Palm Bay Road definitely get busy during rush hour. But the lifestyle trade-off is like this. South Florida traffic is like being stuck in a crowded elevator that stops on every single floor. Palm Bay is like having a long, empty hallway to walk down. One is frustrating and slow, with no end in sight. The other just takes more steps because of the distance. The good news is that the city and state are actively investing in improvements. The state is constantly running multi-million-dollar projects to improve I-95, and the recently opened Virgin Diamond interchange at St. John's Heritage Parkway is a complete game changer, opening up new routes for growth and travel. There are always projects and temporary lane closures, but these are signs of a city working to keep up with its growth. The lifestyle impact is a clear choice. In South Florida, you have high congestion, but also high access, with everything packed together. In Palm Bay, you have lower congestion, but a greater distance to cover. Your daily stress from traffic will plummet, but your odometer will definitely go up. It's a shift from a life of frustrating traffic jams to a life of longer, but much more peaceful drives. So, there you have it. The 7 biggest differences between the fast-paced life of South Florida and the relaxed suburban world of Palm Bay. We've seen the incredible financial relief that feels like an automatic pay raise, contrasted the packed city with Palm Bay's spacious sprawl, and talked about trading the background radio of beach noise for a planned beach day album. We explored swapping big city anatomy for a tight-knit community, the booming tech job market, the call of old Florida nature, and finally, the trade-off between soul-crushing traffic and longer, peaceful commutes. The choice really comes down to what you value most right now. Are you looking for the energy and endless options of a major metro area? Or are you ready to trade that for more space, more financial freedom, and a lifestyle connected to nature and community? Neither answer is right or wrong, but they do lead to 2 very different lives. Palm Bay isn't just a cheaper version of Miami. It's a fundamental shift in your entire reality. If this video has you thinking Palm Bay might be the change you've been looking for, I want to help you take that next step. Moving is a huge decision, and you probably have a dozen more questions specific to your family and your budget. That's exactly why I offer a free 15-minute one-on-one relocation call. There's no sales pressure, just a straightforward conversation to help you get the clarity you need. The link to book a time on my calendar is right down in the description below. Click it, find a time that works for you, and let's talk. What's the one difference we talked about that excites you the most, or maybe even worries you a bit? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read and respond to as many as I can. And if you found this video very helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss another video. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to talk to you soon. Peace.